This is the Garden of Love painted by Peter Paul Rubens just after he married a 16-year-old girl who repeatedly appears in his painting. And oh yeah, Rubens was 53 years old when he married her, just a casual 37 years her senior, even though he included a younger likeness of himself in this painting. Even back in the day, this age gap raised some eyebrows, but Rubens couldn't care less. He was the most popular artist in the world. He had just been knighted by the British King Charles I, and he was an influential diplomat who negotiated for peace between the Spanish and British, and even successfully so. But before diving more into his life, let's get a basic understanding of this painting. The overall idea of this painting is that it celebrates the pleasures of wealth, good company, and love. It's in the style of Titian, combining everyday life with mythology in a grand setting. Let's start with a couple standing on the left side, which are supposed to resemble Peter Paul Rubens and his new wife named Hélène Fourment, of whom you can see a realistic portrait here in her wedding dress at the time of their marriage, as painted by Rubens. The first wife of Rubens had passed away 4 years earlier, and now he had chosen a girl that matched his beauty standards, and she was considered to be one of the most beautiful women of her time. As we can see in many earlier paintings by Rubens, he has a specific idea about female beauty. Not some skinny girl from a Victoria's Secret campaign, but a curvy girl with a chubby neck, a large bosom, and blonde curly hair. Anyway, while Rubens tenderly puts his arm around her middle, the girl seems a bit uncomfortable and shy, not surprising given the large age gap. This is supposed to capture the beginning of their relationship. Rubens is encouraging her to open up and let her reservations go, and the Cupid behind her is helping her to make the next step in the relationship. And that is what the next scene shows, the couple sitting down and she having her hand on his knee, while dreamily looking out of the picture frame, as if looking at the painter himself, Peter Paul Rubens. Also notice the sword that Rubens is carrying here, which was a sign that he now belonged to the nobility. Next is the scene on the right side of the painting, where the girl has become a lady and confidently walks down the steps on the arm of her husband. And the scenes in the center show the same woman multiple times surrounded by several cupids, while listening to the music made by the man holding a lute. It is suggested that this scene represents 3 different kinds of love. The lady on the right with a cupid on her lap represents motherly love, and you can see how this lady draws a younger version of herself dressed in black towards her. The woman at the center holding a small dog represents loyalty and companionship. And the lady on the left showing some cleavage is a symbol for the lustful elements of love. And if you look carefully, you may recognize various symbols throughout the painting, like the dog already mentioned, that refer to the different interpretations of love. On the left, a cupid is holding an arrow symbolizing sexual desire. The cupids on the top left are holding 2 turtle doves, symbols of conjugal love. And the torch of Hymen, the god of marriage, is held by the cupid at the top center, while the cupids on the top right are strewing flowers. And the peacock on the far right is an attribute of Juno, the Roman goddess of marriage. And then there are several references to Venus, the goddess of love. First, we can see her statue on the right side with the water coming out of her breasts, a symbol of fertility. She is seated on top of a dolphin, a symbol for the playful and tireless pleasures of love. And another symbol of Venus, the shell, can be seen on top of the portico. When we look inside the portico, we can identify statues of the 3 Graces who were attendants of Venus, and Rubens captured them more often in his works. And, of course, all the cupids or cherubs are associated with Cupid, the son of Venus. The whole scene takes place in an extended garden, which has various elements that resemble the garden of Rubens' own house, which is nowadays part of the Rubens House Museum in his native Antwerp. Rubens was arguably not only the most famous artist of his day, he was also the most productive one. He ran a large workshop, collaborated with many other artists, and for many of his works he would only sketch the composition and apply the finishing touches. Rubens received many commissions, but interestingly, this work was not commissioned by anyone and he painted it all by himself. And also realize that this was a large painting measuring some 2 by 3 meters. So Rubens was fully committed to the theme of this painting, which he made for himself and his new wife. It was his expression of love and reflected his happiness in his new marriage, something that is confirmed by letters he had written during those years. However, I don't know if the wife was equally happy, as I did not find any sources that expressed her feelings. Rubens would die 10 years after their marriage at age 62, and in those 10 years the couple would get 5 children. When Rubens died, he would leave her a large fortune, and a few years later she would remarry someone else and would live until age 59. There's one more thing that is interesting about this painting, which is that it clearly represents the changing of the power in the world of Rubens. Just as a comparison, 10 years earlier he painted his first wife dressed in a more sober black outfit, which was very much the fashion of the Spanish, who had the biggest empire in the world. But over time, Rubens' models started to wear more modern French fashion, as can be seen by the increasing elegance and the diverse colors of the dresses in this painting, which was a sign that the power was shifting from the Spanish to the French. And while most paintings are in some way reflective of their time, it is even more poignant in the works of Rubens, as he knew the world quite well through his work as a diplomat. Funny enough though, while the Spanish influence in the world was declining, this work did end up in the Spanish royal collection less than 3 decades later. And today it is still on display at the Prado Museum in Madrid. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning about this wonderful work by Peter Paul Rubens, and if you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons to show your appreciation. And as always, please leave any thoughts or questions in the comment section down below. I love hearing from you. Thanks for watching.